History repeats itself. Written by XX that underscore harem underscore writer XX on archive of our own. Read and brought to you by me. A Harry Potter fanfiction featuring the ships Draco Malfoy and Harry Potter, Regulus Black and James Potter, and Scorpius Malfoy and Albus Severus Potter. Chapter 3. The Rest of the Summer, Part 2. 1974. Once the group had arrived at the picnic area, James and Remus were sat on a fallen log as Lily and Sirius pulled out all of the picnic things from their never-ending bags. James looked over at Remus. "Hey, Mooney, what were you and Lils on about before we got here?" James asks, and Remus chuckles. "James, it really doesn't matter right now. I promise. All will reveal itself soon enough." Remus replies, but James tilts his head. This all seemed so fishy. Clearly they were hiding something from him. Still, he knew neither Remus nor Lily would tell him, so he sighed and let it go. For now, anyway. Lily and Sirius were now done setting up the picnic, and Remus and James moved from the fallen log onto the blanket opposite Sirius and Lily. They began eating and snacking while holding small conversation. "So, who's excited for summer to end and school to begin?" Lily asks, and Remus chuckles. "I think we all are, although I am more excited about school itself, whereas those two are just excited to get back to Hogwarts to cause more mayhem again, as they do every year." Remus replies, "And the two pout." Lily chuckles. "Always causing trouble, you two." 1995. Hermione says with a laugh, and Ron and Harry sigh. "Meoni, we don't make or cause trouble. Trouble just always seems to find us," Harry says, and Hermione laughs. It's only because you go looking for it." She smiles across the dinner table at them. "We're not looking for it. It just finds us." Ron facepalms, and Harry nods in agreement. "Okay, well, as it may be partly true, the fights with Draco Malfoy don't just find you. You two start them," Hermione says over her cup of tea, knowing that she's finally won here.
No, why is that afraid to call this road to go?"
Ron says, with a mouthful of food, and Hermione rolls her eyes. "I don't need saving, Ronald. Believe it or not, I can handle my own. You don't need to start a full-on argument and fight with him over it," she says as she sips her tea once again. "Not to mention, you are on your last warning for fights in the corridors. You know if McGonagall finds you fighting again, you are going to get detention." 2021. Albus says to James across the dinner table, who rolls his eyes. "Yeah, right. Listen, I'm one of her best Quidditch players. She's not going to give me detention, especially if we have practice, which is scheduled a lot. So, my dorky dark brother, she's not going to do anything about it," James says as he takes a gulp from his Coca-Cola. "But James, bullying people isn't okay," Albus yells, and James glares at him, thankful that Molly and George were outside having a conversation. "Keep your voice down, shitface. You are going to get me in trouble with Gran. And for your information, I'm not bullying him. I'm keeping up with the family rivalry," James says, proud and tall as Albus glares. "It's no rivalry when the kid keeps to himself and barely fights back, James. That's called bullying," he says, but James shrugs. "Listen, idiot. If you have a problem with how I treat my lowerclassmen, I don't care. Unless you're going to step in between your which I know you won't because you're a cowardly Slytherin, then leave it be, Albus. He's my lowerclassman. I'll treat him how I like, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, eat your food and leave me alone. You're starting to sound like Mum," James says with a groan, and Albus sighs. He was not getting through to him at all. But James was right. He was kind of a coward. He knew James had been bullying that boy for years now. So why now, only now, does he feel the need to stop it? Why now, when he has these strange feelings for the boy who's supposed to be his enemy? Why now does he want to keep James far away from him and protect him? 1974. James rolls his eyes a little as Sirius talks about the most recent prank he pulled on his brother. Sirius could be horrid sometimes, but still. James was gritting his teeth to keep his mouth shut, worried that if he said anything, the other would instantly know that he had feelings for the other. James hadn't even realised Lily had found out what he was doing. But she had. Padfoot, you really shouldn't be harsh on your younger brother, Lily says, and it snaps James out of his angry trance to nod and agree with Lily. Remus nodding as well. Sirius rolls his eyes. Sure, Medusa. Just because you hang out with that Snivelist doesn't mean that you've got to bring your sweet southern ideologies on to me. Sirius says with an eye roll, but James sighs. No, Padfoot, Lil has a point. You shouldn't treat your brother so harshly with your pranks. Yes, okay, we know how much you care for him as well, but have you thought of the effect your pranks could have on him? James asks, shocked by his own words. Clearly, Sirius shocked by them too. Oh, you don't know anything, Prongs. Reggie doesn't care what pranks I pull on him. He doesn't even mind that I pull pranks on him. Sirius says with a laugh to cover up his true thought on James's words. James nods and smiles at him. If you're sure then, I guess it's fine, James says, even though his mind was deep in thought, knowing Sirius's stutter, he too knew that some of the pranks were beyond bad. James knew that all Regulus really needed was someone to hear him out. 1995. Yeah, that was it. Maybe that was why Harry had been thinking about Draco so much. Hermione's words made perfect sense. Maybe all the fighting had started to eat up at him and he felt bad. You know what, Meone? Maybe you're right, Harry says with a sigh, and both Ron and Hermione's eyes open wide with shock. Wait, you're really gonna have a talk with fucking Malfoy and hear him out? Seriously, Harry, you know how badly that could backfire at you? Ron asks him, exasperated. Harry nodded. It could go awful, Ronald, but it's worth a shot. With everything else going on at the moment, and how eventful our years have been recently, it might just be that it'd be easier to have Malfoy not on our backs, Harry says, and Ron rolls his eyes but nods. Fine. I guess you giving it a go couldn't hurt, Ron says with a sigh, and Harry nods, as he then caught his eye of the twins, who smirked knowingly. Harry rolled his eyes. He was doing this to get Malfoy off their backs, okay? 2021. He was going to stand up to James with Scorp and get him to leave the boy alone. He was not doing this to try and be closer to the boy. Albus nodded to himself with determination in his eyes as he stood up from the table to head upstairs, passing Uncle George, who smirked at him. George knew those eyes very well. Once Albus had gone upstairs, George chuckled to himself. Like father, like son, he mumbles as he made his way to help his mother clear the table. Albus headed upstairs to the room he was staying in, which was his dad's and uncle's old summer room. He flopped onto the bed as it creaked underneath him, before taking out his wand and sighing. Maybe I should write a letter to him. Let him know that I'm here to help, he thought to himself before nodding. He then pulled some parchment from the door next to the temporary bed he was laying in for the night and pointed his wand at it, scribbling down everything he was saying. To Scorpius. Hi, I know we don't really know each other, and, we've barely spoken, but I'm sick and tired of the way my brother James treats you. It's rude, and horrible. He has no right to bully you just because he thinks it's what he's supposed to do because of the family rivalry, which you shouldn't use the excuse of because you don't even fight him back. And, yes, what I'm trying to say is when we, start back, I'm going to help you out with my brother. I'm not going to let him get away with bullying you anymore. I'm sorry I didn't help sooner. And, well, you are fully in right to burn this letter and not even hear about what I'm going to say. But I should have helped you sooner. I'm sorry that I haven't. And, well, I promise you, I'm going to try and make it right. Signed, A.S. Potter. He finishes the letter and puts Scorpius' name on the envelope before calling George's owl. He then passed the letter to the owl, who flew off, and then he flopped onto his bed. Hopefully, the letter reached Malfoy Manor without it being burnt to a crisp. That was kind of the reason he sent George's owl. He knew George's owl sent letters to all children and parents because of his store, and knew Scorpius had probably received a letter from George's owl before. He hoped it got to him, and he hoped that Otho would read it.